When you feel like you're wrestling with yourself, it can be a tough road, but know this, you don't have to stay there. Here are 9 reasons why you might be struggling within yourself, along with keys to help you rise above. When you're disconnected from yourself, it's like walking through life with no direction, no compass. Think about it. How can you know where you're going if you don't know who you are? Every person has layers, some buried so deep we don't even recognize them until we're forced to look. But too often we keep busy, avoid that mirror because self-awareness can be uncomfortable. It can mean facing flaws we'd rather ignore, admitting truths we don't want to believe, and breaking down walls we've built to protect ourselves from pain. But if you stay in that comfort zone, refusing to dig into who you really are, you end up spinning in circles, never reaching your full potential. It's in the quiet moments, away from the noise, that you start finding pieces of yourself. You begin to notice patterns, behaviors, the things you say or do that don't really serve you. But recognizing those parts is just a start. Real self-awareness means looking even deeper, questioning why you do what you do, why you react the way you do, and why you hold on to certain beliefs that may be limiting you. And as you start to understand these things, you unlock the power to change them. This process isn't easy. It takes courage to face yourself fully, to admit where you fall short, and to acknowledge parts of yourself that need work. But this isn't about judgment, it's about growth. Self-awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. At first, it may be uncomfortable. You see the mess, the clutter, the parts that need organizing. But once the light is on, you have the chance to clean it up, to shake the room into something better. And once you do, you'll find clarity, direction, and a purpose that was hiding just beyond the shadows. Self-awareness is the foundation for everything, and without it, you'll always feel lost no matter where life takes you. Fear of failure is like a wall you build brick by brick until it surrounds you, trapping you in a prison of doubt. This fear is insidious. It can creep in slowly, disguising itself as caution or reason. But in reality, it stops you before you even start. Maybe you're afraid of what people will think, or you're worried about disappointing yourself. So you hesitate, hold back, and before you know it, the fear has convinced you that staying comfortable is the safest bet. But here's the truth: comfort is just a slower path to regret. To overcome the fear of failure, you first have to understand that failing is part of the journey. It's unavoidable. Every great achievement is lined with setbacks, but it's what you learn in those moments that pushes you forward. When you embrace the idea that falling down is not the end, but rather a stepping stone, failure loses its grip on you. Each setback gives you a chance to grow stronger, to come back wiser, and to approach life with a new perspective. But that can only happen if you're willing to take risks, to bet on yourself, and to step into the unknown. Imagine this: if you never try, you're guaranteed to stay exactly where you are. But when you take a leap, when you go after something, even if the outcome is uncertain, you open yourself up to possibilities you've never experienced otherwise. Fear wants to keep you small, but you were meant for more than playing it safe. Taking risks is the path to greatness, and yes, sometimes that means stumbling, but each fall makes you more resilient, more determined, and more capable of handling the weight of success. Let go of the notion that failure defines you. It doesn't. What defines you is how you get back up, how you push forward, and how you learn from each experience. Failure only has the power you give it. Embrace the challenges, the falls, and the mistakes. They're the blueprint for growth, the fuel that keeps the fire going. So don't let fear keep you in a corner. Face it head on, step outside the comfort zone, and show yourself what you're made of. Because at the end of the day, it's not the failures you'll remember, it's the victories that came because you didn't let fear hold you back. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you're setting yourself up for a life of frustration and self-doubt. It's easy to look around and see people who seem to have it all together: more success, more money, more recognition. But here's the problem: when you measure your worth against someone else's achievements, you're giving away your power. Every person's journey is unique, and nobody else can walk your path. Comparing yourself to others blinds you to your own potential, trapping you in a cycle of envy and discouragement. Think about this. There will always be someone ahead of you, someone who appears to be doing more, achieving faster, or shining brighter. But the truth is, you have no idea what they went through to get there, the sacrifices they made, or the struggles they faced. Just because someone's highlight reel looks impressive doesn't mean their journey has been smooth. You're seeing their victories, not their battles. So instead of comparing, focus on competing with yourself. Become a little better, a little wiser, and a little stronger every day. That's the true measure of progress. Comparison steals your joy because it shifts your focus to what you lack instead of what you have. When you're busy looking sideways, you lose sight of the incredible strengths and talents within you. Each time you waste energy comparing yourself, you're holding back from investing in your own growth. Don't be so distracted by someone else's success that you miss out on creating your own. You've got talents, dreams, and a purpose uniquely yours. Embrace that and let your life unfold in its own time. In the end, comparing yourself is like trying to run someone else's race. It doesn't get you any closer to your own finish line. Instead, celebrate others' successes, learn what you can, but stay grounded in your own journey. You're on a path that's entirely yours, and no one else can walk it for you. Redirect the energy you spend comparing and use it to improve, to grow, and to build the life you envision. Your greatest achievement won't be found by looking at someone else's lane. It'll be found by staying true to yours. Dwelling on past mistakes is like trying to drive forward while staring in the rearview mirror. The more you focus on where you've stumbled, the harder it is to move toward where you want to be. Mistakes happen to everyone, but if you keep replaying them over and over in your mind, you're letting those moments define you. That's a heavy weight to carry because the past doesn't change, but your future can. So why let a few wrong turns make you lose sight of the path still ahead? When you're constantly looking back, you rob yourself of the energy you need to build something better. Mistakes are only failures if you don't learn from them. Every slip up, every bad choice, every setback carries a lesson, a bit of wisdom you couldn't have gotten any other way. But holding on to guilt and regret, that keeps you stuck, trapped in a version of yourself that no longer serves you. You're not the same person who made those mistakes, so give yourself permission to grow beyond them. I think of each mistake as a chapter in your story, not the whole book. Those chapters may be painful and they may bring regret, but they also build resilience. They teach you what works, what doesn't, and most importantly, who you're becoming in the process. It's through these moments that you discover what you're truly capable of. Don't erase the past, embrace it as part of your growth. Recognize where you went wrong, take responsibility, but don't let it weigh you down. Instead, use it to fuel the changes you want to see in your life. Living in the shadow of past mistakes means giving up on the opportunities waiting for you. There's freedom in letting go and acknowledging that yesterday doesn't control who you are today. Every new day is a blank slate, a chance to write a different ending to your story. Don't let the weight of yesterday hold you back from the victory of tomorrow. Embrace your past, learn from it, but keep your eyes forward. That's where your future is, waiting for you to create it. Unrealistic expectations can feel like a trap you've set for yourself, a standard so high that even your best efforts never seem to measure up. We all want to succeed, to be great, to rise above, but sometimes we forget that greatness is a journey, not a destination. When you set expectations that don't account for the process, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. You're creating a version of success that doesn't leave room for setbacks, growth, or the patience needed to build something lasting. When you expect everything to fall into place perfectly, frustration becomes inevitable. Life isn't smooth and growth isn't instant. Unrealistic expectations rob you of the joy that comes from small victories, from gradual progress. They make you feel like you're always one step behind, never quite enough, and that mindset will wear you down. You end up chasing an illusion, striving for a vision that's impossible to maintain. Instead, try recognizing that progress looks different every day. Some days it's big leaps, and other days it's just small steps. Both matter. These expectations can also limit your ability to adapt. If you're so fixated on an outcome that looks one specific way, you might miss out on opportunities that could lead to even greater growth. Life doesn't follow a script. And sometimes the best things happen when you allow yourself the flexibility to adjust, to pivot, to let things unfold in ways you didn't plan for. Holding on to rigid expectations is like wearing blinders. You're focused on one narrow path, unable to see the possibilities that surround you. And maybe you've set these expectations because you're afraid of looking like you're falling short. You're afraid of what others will think if you don't succeed according to some idealized standard. But here's the thing, no one else's opinion can define your journey. You're not in this life to live up to anyone's version of success but your own. When you let go of unrealistic expectations, you give yourself permission to succeed in your own time, your own way. The process of letting go of perfection, of accepting the journey with all its twists and turns, allows you to focus on growth rather than outcomes. It's about embracing the present, giving yourself grace, and understanding that the best things come not from being flawless, but from being resilient. Unrealistic expectations weigh you down, but realistic goals lift you up, helping you build something real, something you can be proud of. Adjust your expectations, and you'll find that success is more about progress than perfection. When you're living without purpose, it's like drifting in an open sea with no land in sight. You move with the tides, pulled in 1,000 directions, but anchored nowhere. A life without purpose can feel hollow, like something's missing, but you can't quite put your finger on it. That emptiness creeps in slowly, and suddenly days, weeks, even years go by with little to show but the passing of time. Without a clear direction, you're just getting by, not truly living. Purpose isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing what pulls you forward, what makes you feel alive. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning, a reason to face the challenges and push past the fear. But finding purpose takes more than just wishing it into existence. It requires searching, trying, and sometimes failing. It means digging into what really matters to you, exploring your talents, your passions, and the unique strengths you have to offer the world. Because purpose isn't found on the surface, it's discovered when you dig deep into who you are and what you value. When you lack purpose, you might fill your days with distractions, hoping they'll somehow make you feel whole. You chase achievements, relationships, or material success, thinking they'll fill the void. But without a foundation of purpose, even those things eventually lose their shine. True fulfillment comes when you align your life with something bigger than yourself, whether it's creating, helping, leading, or making a difference in some way. Purpose isn't always glamorous, but it's always powerful. It gives you resilience when times get tough and joy that goes beyond temporary highs. Sometimes the struggle to find purpose comes from the fear of choosing wrong or not living up to others' expectations. But here's the truth, your purpose doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. It's not about living up to someone else's standard or following a path others think you should take. It's about finding what brings you peace, what makes your heart race, and what gives you that quiet confidence that you're on the right track. Purpose doesn't mean you'll have it all figured out overnight. It's a journey, often revealed piece by piece as you take steps forward, try new things, and embrace both your strengths and your challenges. But when you're committed to finding it, even the smallest actions become part of something meaningful. With purpose, every step has value, every setback becomes a lesson, and every day holds a reason to keep going. Neglecting your inner voice is like ignoring the most honest, loyal friend you'll ever have. Deep down, there's a part of you that knows what's right for you, that whispers truths even when you don't want to hear them. But life is full of noise people telling you who you should be, what you should want, where you should go. And in that chaos, it's easy to let your inner voice fade into the background, to let the opinions of others drown out what you know in your gut. Your inner voice is that quiet, unshakable sense of knowing. It's not always loud, but it's always there waiting for you to listen. It nudges you when you're heading in the wrong direction, warns you when something doesn't feel right, and gives you courage when you're on the brink of something important. But if you ignore it long enough, it grows quiet. Not because it's gone, but because you've stopped tuning in, and the longer you neglect it, the more lost you feel, like walking around in circles, never quite finding your way. The world will always have opinions about what you should do and who you should be. But here's the thing, no one else lives inside your mind or feels the weight of your choices like you do. Ignoring your inner voice for the sake of fitting in or pleasing others only leads to regret. There's a price to pay when you live life on someone else's terms. You start to feel disconnected from yourself, like a stranger in your own life. And that emptiness, that feeling of being lost, is your inner voice telling you that it's time to come home to yourself. Listening to your inner voice takes courage. Sometimes it will tell you things you'd rather not face. It may ask you to make difficult choices, to walk away from things that don't serve you, or to step into the unknown. But if you can silence the external noise and trust that voice, it'll lead you toward what truly matters. It'll give you strength when things get tough, resilience when you're facing challenges, and clarity when you're lost. Don't silence your inner voice just to follow the crowd. Give it the respect it deserves because it's there for a reason. It's your compass, guiding you toward a life that's authentically yours. So take a moment, tune in, and listen. That voice has been with you since the beginning, and it'll be with you until the end. And if you learn to trust it, to follow where it leads, you'll find a path that's true, a life that feels right, and a purpose that only you can fulfill. Allowing negative influences into your life is like planting weeds in a garden. You may not notice their impact right away, but slowly they choke out everything good that's trying to grow. Negative influences come in many forms: people who drain your energy, environments that bring out the worst in you, habits that keep you stuck. At first, they may seem harmless, just a little here and there. But over time, they build up, creating a cloud of doubt, cynicism, and self-doubt that shadows every decision you make. Sometimes these influences come disguised as friends, as familiar routines, as harmless habits. You think you're just spending time just going along with what everyone else is doing, just letting the days slip by. But little by little, they start to affect how you see yourself, what you believe you're capable of, and even what you think you deserve. Surrounding yourself with negativity makes you start questioning your worth, your goals, and the vision you once had for your life. It saps your energy, drains your motivation, and leaves you feeling trapped in a cycle of stagnation. Cutting out negative influences isn't easy. It takes courage and commitment to say no to things and people that don't uplift you. And yes, sometimes that means stepping away from people who've been a part of your life for a long time, or breaking habits that have given you comfort. But staying around negativity doesn't make it disappear. It only makes it stronger. If you want a life that's full of possibility, growth, and purpose, you have to be willing to protect your peace. I think of your mind and heart as precious spaces. You wouldn't let just anyone walk into your home and make a mess, so why allow negativity to make itself comfortable in your life? Instead, seek out people, places, and habits that elevate you, that inspire you to become better, that remind you of the potential you have. Surround yourself with influences that see the best in you, that push you to strive higher, to aim further. When you choose positive influences, you're creating a foundation that supports your growth, your dreams, your highest potential. You're surrounding yourself with people who celebrate your wins, who stand by you in tough times, and who remind you of your worth when you start to doubt it. Life's too short to let negativity hold you back. Remove the weeds, clear the space, and fill your life with things and people that nurture your soul. Then watch as your confidence grows, your vision sharpens, and you move closer to the life you're meant to live. Resisting change is like trying to hold back the tide with your bare hands. Life is always moving, always shifting, whether you're ready for it or not. But we cling to what's familiar, even when it's no longer serving us, because the unknown feels risky. We think that staying where we are keeps us safe, but in reality, it keeps us stuck. Holding on to what's comfortable, what's predictable, might feel secure, but it stops you from growing, from becoming who you're meant to be. Change is uncomfortable, no doubt about it. It challenges you to leave behind the routines, the habits, the places that you've come to rely on. But comfort is a double-edged sword, yes. It feels good, but it can also numb you to new opportunities, new experiences, new growth. When you resist change, you're closing the door on possibilities that could lead you to a better, more fulfilled life. You're saying no to growth, no to progress, and no to a future that could be far more rewarding than anything you're holding on to now. At its core, resisting change is about fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of stepping out of your comfort zone. But here's the thing, nothing worthwhile was ever built on fear. Greatness requires stepping into the unknown, trusting that even if you stumble, you'll find your way. Change isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It's there to test your strength, to push your limits, and to reveal parts of yourself you wouldn't discover otherwise. If you can shift your mindset from fearing change to embracing it, you'll find that every challenge, every transition carries a lesson meant to prepare you for the next chapter. Resisting change is like trying to keep a door closed while knowing that what's on the other side could change your life for the better. You don't grow by staying where you are, you grow by stepping into what's next, even when it scares you. Embracing change doesn't mean everything will go perfectly. It means you're open to learning, to adapting, to becoming. Change shapes you, builds resilience, and sharpens your vision. It's how you learn who you are and what you're capable of. So don't be afraid to let go of the old, the familiar, the comfortable. Trust that the process, while messy at times, is part of a greater plan to make you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's to come. Embrace change and let it take you where you're meant to go. You might just find that on the other side of fear is a life that's bigger, bolder, and better than anything you've known before. Struggles will come and go, but if you hold on to these truths, you'll find a way through. Remember, every challenge is a stepping stone toward a stronger, wiser version of you. Let the struggle transform you, don't let it define you.